want to tell you a secret. Most of the busy professional women I know don't really hate budgeting overall. They just hate the mental load that comes with it. Between demanding careers and managing a household, there's not enough hours in a day to track every single expense. That's why over half of Americans are turning to AI for help. But the truth is, there's a big difference between using AI as a tool to organize all your data and a system that keeps your money completely safe. And a lot of people are missing that. So in this video, I'm going to show you how we can use AI responsibly when it comes to managing our money by safely handing over some tedious tasks without putting your personal data at risk, the blind spots that can be found in ChatGPT or Claude or whatever else you might be using that could completely throw off your goals if gone unchecked, and when and how to use AI responsibly to clear out the clutter of your monthly routine. To really understand how AI can trip you up, I'm going to share a quick story about my recent trip to Puerto Rico. So I was out at a beautiful restaurant with friends. The food was great, the check had arrived, and I was like, oh, this would be a great use of AI. So I took a picture of my receipt, told the AI everything every single person ordered, and asked it to split the bill. I tried this multiple times at different restaurants throughout my trip. Do you know how many times you got that breakdown right? None. The only reason I knew it was wrong is because I knew how to do that math myself. So if you depend entirely on AI to give you the answer because you don't want to learn how to manage your money yourself, or you just want to hand over that task to it, it can lead you completely astray. You need to develop baseline money skills so that you can use technology to be more efficient rather than letting it take the wheel. So the mistake we make in trying to use AI for all the things is lacking understanding of how things like ChatGPT and Claude work. They are language models that operate on probability. They are literally guessing the most likely word based on patterns they've seen before. The software really prioritizing sounding smart, convincing, and super helpful over delivering an accurate calculation. So it'll give you an answer that looks beautiful and nicely formatted, but the numbers inside it can be completely wrong. A lot of research have already looked into this, and it turns out these errors are not just something temporary that'll get fixed with the next upgrade. They are a permanent reality of how artificial intelligence handles data. In fact, in testing done in early 2026, advanced AI models were given a basic compound interest problem to solve. Even though the tools got the individual steps right, they returned a completely incorrect answer 58% of the time. But the real danger here is not so much that the tools get the answer wrong, it's how it delivers the answer. Because they're designed to be friendly, helpful, and encouraging, they will give you those incorrect answers with absolute confidence, which is incredibly persuasive. And if you're already in a space where you're stressed or overwhelmed by your finances, it's so easy to just give way to trusting it. But this is why you can't completely outsource your critical thinking to artificial intelligence. If you want to use it safely, you want to treat it as a helpful but slightly clumsy assistant. You can let it draft ideas, but you always need to look at the final numbers before you make a real move with your money. When you're trying to figure out a budget, it might be tempting to just start a new chat with your favorite AI tool and ask it to build a comprehensive financial plan for your life. Kind of feels like a cheat code. But you have to realize that these tools, they operate under very strict limits, and they don't have access to your real-time cash flow. And even more importantly, they're not up to date with sudden policy or tax changes. And even more importantly, it ignores the human side of personal finance. The algorithm might look at your numbers and tell you that you can save money by cutting out childcare or by taking on a second job, which looks perfect on paper. But that completely ignores the mental toll, exhaustion, and immense personal strain that those actions actually cause. Plus, by law, these platforms are not financial experts, and they cannot give you tailored advice. So, if you want to use artificial intelligence appropriately, use it for brainstorming, looking up definitions, breaking down big ideas. Just don't let it run your day-to-day planning. When you find a piece of technology that actually lets you organize things, it's very tempting to just hand it over everything you got. Make sense of it for me, please. But when you use free public tools, you have to be very mindful of your privacy. Any personal data that you enter is stored on external servers where outside contractors might review it, or it could expose your account history if it's ever compromised. So when you're brainstorming your finances with AI, be careful not to expose your account number, your passwords, or your social. Be really mindful of keeping these kind of personal details out of it. But it's okay to share the amount that you pay for your mortgage, how much interest is being charged, your interest rate, how much you spend on groceries. So ideally, to get the benefit of time saving by using AI when it comes to your finances, focus on what they're good at, the language side of things. First, you can use them to explain confusing financial terms or run through an extremely long document that you've come across that's hard to understand so that you can understand it in plain English. So second thing to consider is that if you're running actual budgeting calculations and you want actual data in here, you're better off using a standard spreadsheet that you get online versus using AI chatbot. That way you don't have to worry about the tool guessing. You have exact calculations to reference. Lastly, when it comes to day-to-day expenses, I personally would not use a tool like ChatGPT or Claude to track my expenses. Instead, I would recommend using a dedicated budgeting app like YNAB or Monarch. I personally use Monarch. These kind of apps are so much safer when it comes to security. They use secure read-only connections, like Plaid integrations, to automatically sync with thousands of institutions. This means that your data is compiled and sorted securely behind the scenes, and your private login credentials are not exposed to any AI assistant. This allows you to track your expenses in real time while keeping your financial life secure. Putting a solid strategy in place is what actually clears the mental clutter rather than just dumping everything into AI. But using these 3 steps allows you to be more efficient without letting it take control of your choices. Just remember, artificial intelligence can only take you so far. It can sort your data, but it does not live your life. And it can't give you the real-world human experience that it takes to actually build wealth sustainably. In fact, there are some money-saving strategies that you'll never get from an AI prompt. They come from personal experience and from understanding how it's like to live out here. So, if you want to see your bank balance grow, I want you to click right here, where I'm sharing 10 simple tips on how to save as much money as possible, which makes savings feel completely doable without feeling deprived. So click here and I'll see you in the next video.